What is going on, YouTube? Thank you so much for clicking on my channel and for joining me for this review of Married at First Sight, Season 16, Episode 1, Marry Me in Tennessee. So the official Season 16 has started, and already to me, I find it extremely interesting. So I am very excited about this season of Married at First Sight. So the first couple that I want to talk about is Kirsten and Shaquille. Kirsten is 32 years old. She's a real estate agent. Shaquille is 31 years old. He is a university director. Now, when you look at Kirsten, you see a beautiful woman, accomplished, well-spoken, educated, professional woman. She's funny. She's adorable. When you look at her, you're almost like, wow, this woman seems like a great catch. Why can't she find a partner? Why does she have to go to a television show to find a husband? Well, when she tells us how picky she is, it becomes a little bit more understandable why she decided to go on a TV show and have some strangers pick a man for her. Because she talks about how picky she is. She says her whole entire life she's been extremely picky. Picky about food, picky about this, picky about that, just overly picky about everything. And including very picky about her partners. So I'm already very worried about Shaquille because I know that she is going to look him over with a microscope and find something to not be happy about. Kirsten seems like someone who's probably a little bit hard to please, and she's never satisfied, and she's probably searching for perfection, which absolutely doesn't exist. When she described the perfect guy for herself, she described a man who didn't sound human. He had to be, a certain height, tall, dark, and handsome. He had to be at least 7 to 8. If you know, you know. Educated, professional, this, and that, well-dressed, all of this. Now, coincidentally, even though what she was describing seemed almost, not real, Shaquille fits a lot of that, of what she was describing. She talked about how she really wanted to have a man who was as educated as she was. She has 2 degrees. Shaquille is working on his doctorate. So he probably has a bachelor's and a master's, and now he's working on his doctorate. He's a professional man. Like I said, he's a university director. He's extremely into looking good. He's very well dressed. There was a scene when all the guys had gone out for pizza and everybody was very casual. He shows up in like a jacket and a button-up shirt, and even the guys made a comment about that. They're like, I thought we were all going to be really casual, t-shirt and jeans, baseball cap, going out for pizza, and here you are in a blazer and a button-down shirt. Like, what's going on? So he takes his appearance extremely seriously. He is a designer of bow ties, so appearance is everything to him, which is great because Kirsten seems like someone who likes to put herself together. She's a real estate agent, so she has to part of the tools that she uses to sell has to be her appearance. And so Kirsten, I'm pretty sure she's always dressed really sharp. Hairs are always done, nails done, all of that, makeup, all of that. And so I think Shaquille will be extremely pleased with Kirsten. I don't know exactly how Kirsten's going to feel about Shaquille. Something tells me that Kirsten has an idea of the kind of man that she thinks she should be matched with. And I don't think Shaquille is going to live up to that expectation. So I'm a little bit worried about how she's going to react to Shaquille. I'm not too concerned about how Shaquille's going to react to her. I think Shaquille, when he sees her, he's going to be extremely pleased. She did say that she wasn't really crazy about bald men, and Shaquille is definitely bald. She says that she prefers her men to have a very low haircut. Now, when they had... When the guys had all gone out for burnt pizza, Shaquille was dressed up in a blazer and a button-down shirt. The other guys were extremely casual, t-shirt, baseball cap, etc. He showed up in a blazer and a button-down shirt. So appearance to him is everything. Moving on to Dominique and McKinley. So Dominique is 25, McKinley is 33. Dominique is African American, McKinley is white. Now, this is the couple where Dr. Pepper had said because Dominique's mother married a white man, because her father is because Dominique's father is white, then Dominique will be open to being matched with a white guy. And I thought Dr. Pepper's reasoning was really bizarre. I'm not saying that Dominique doesn't like white guys, but the conclusion that Dr. Pepper came up with, well, because her mom likes white guys, so she must like white guys too. I thought that was extremely bizarre. So Dominique is an only child, and she says that being an only child has made her a very old soul. She's an old soul. So she's 25, but she's extremely mature for her age, and she prefers to date men who are much older than she is. She's very close to her mother. They talk on the phone every single day. They talk on the phone several times a day. So she's extremely close to her mother. And I've been reading online that her mother had applied for the show for her. So I'm not quite understanding if her mom is extremely controlling and if her mom is going to do a lot of interference into her marriage. I hope not, but it kind of seems like her mother plays a very major role in her life, which is, only 25. And maybe her mom might be a little bit too involved with her relationship or her marriage. And I hope that that's not going to be the case. The mother said that she wants the experts to choose somebody for Dominique that is completely outside the box, a type of man that Dominique would not normally go for. Now, that would make sense if they chose McKinley, because McKinley, even though he's older than Dominique, he's only 33. So I don't know if Dominique would consider that, old, because she likes to date older men. I don't think it's that much older than her. So hopefully somebody who's a little bit younger than what she's used to might be a breath of fresh air for her. McKinley describes himself as being very introverted and very shy. He dropped out of college and started his own business. I'm assuming it's successful, but Married at First Sight, they have a lot of tricks up their sleeves, and he's probably another person who doesn't make a lot of money or is, borderline unemployed because his business isn't doing well. I hope that's not the case. His previous girlfriend, McKinley's previous girlfriend, broke up with him by telling him that she was engaged to someone else. So he tells this story on how he was dating somebody long term, and one day she contacts him and she flashes a ring at him. And so he thought, oh, she's showing me the ring that she wants me to buy her when I propose to her. Well, the lady said, the lady was like, no, I'm engaged to somebody else. And that's how he found out that he no longer had a girlfriend. And when he was telling the story, he even got a little bit emotional. So I hope he tells Dominique this story, because I need Dominique to tread very carefully with McKinley. Someone who's been through something like that, because as he was telling the story, he got emotional. Someone who's been through something like that, I feel like, she's going to have to be a little bit more careful. I don't know. That's just me. And McKinley also really wants children. Now, as far as that relationship goes, I don't have any major red flags. The only thing is, I don't know how extroverted Dominique is, but I don't think that a very extroverted person can be a good match for a very introverted person. I don't think it's a very good match. That's just my personal opinion. So that might be a problem if she might be really extroverted, because when she was with her friends were like, well, I hope your husband is still going to let you have GNO, which is girls' night out. I hope that's not going to stop with this. So it seems like she still wants to kick it with her friends and hang out with her friends pretty frequently. So I hope that's not going to interfere with her marriage. Moving on to Nicole and Chris. Nicole is 32 years old. Chris is 36. Nicole, I don't know. I forgot what she does. Oh, she's in marketing, I think. I think she's in marketing, and I forgot what Chris does. I think he's in technology, in IT, I think. So Nicole describes herself. She says, I'm a bitch who has too big of a heart. And I was like, what the hell does that mean? What does that mean? Because somebody who has a big heart, I'm thinking of they're very caring, they're very giving, they're very sympathetic to others, they're very helpful. And when I think of, I'm not thinking of any of that. So I don't understand what that means. She says that she likes to play piggy puppet theater with her dog. So I don't know if she's just a kid at heart or if she's weird. I fell asleep in a lot of her segment. I can't really say much about her, but she does feel very hopeful about the process. Chris, he is described as Mr. Nice Guy. Throughout the show, they keep talking about how nice Chris is. He's so nice. And nice guys finish last. And people take advantage of his kindness. And, kind of like he's just this, like he's just this nice goofball or this nice doofus, and people walk all over him because he's just so nice. That's how it's coming across. But I do see like a little bit of a mean streak in Chris. I kind of see he might be a nice guy, whatever, but there's something about him that I feel like is probably going to throw us for a loop. He says he wants an athletic woman. I don't see Nicole as somebody who's very athletic. He hasn't been with a woman in over a year. So when he told the other guys this, when they all went out for pizza and he told the guys that he hasn't been with a woman in a year, they were shocked. In fact, Eris referred to Chris as the 40-year-old virgin. They were pretty shocked. He doesn't believe in hookups, he says. So he doesn't believe in that. He wants something very long-term. He wants something serious. And when they went to their bachelor party, he was not really partaking in the activities. When the strippers came out, he was just kind of standing off to the side. Chris is just... He's described as somebody who's just very much ready to be married, very much ready to have a wife. And he does not want to mess any of that up. Nicole herself, I guess you can call her the 30-something-year-old virgin, because she says that she hasn't been with a man ever since she's arrived in Nashville. And I think she's been living in Nashville for quite a while. Moving on to Jasmine and Eris. Now, I had said previously that Jasmine and Eris are my favorite couple, but I'm beginning to second guess that. Jasmine is 31 years old. She is a competitive cheerleading coach. Eris is 39 years old. He is I think is he a software developer? I think he's a software developer. Even though Eris is 39, he looks like he's 29. He looks very, very young for his age. He doesn't look 39 at all. His demeanor, the way he talks, the way he carries himself, the way he dresses, he looks like he's 29 years old, even younger than that. He looks extremely young. And I feel like there's still like a little bit of that player in him. When he announced to his family and friends that they had found a match for him, he has one particular cousin by the name of, I think her name is Felina. Felina is absolutely against this whole process for Eris. She's like, you're not ready to be in a serious relationship. You're not ready for marriage. She even made the comment to him, how can you be ready to get married in 2 weeks when 2 weeks ago you were a player? You're out there running the streets and now you're going to be getting married in 2 weeks? No. Felina was very outspoken about how Eris is not ready. He hasn't matured enough to be married, to be someone's husband. And she's absolutely against this. And she's going to try to fight this tooth and nail. So Eris tells us that the one time he was emotionally available, it all backfired on him. The one time that he was emotionally available for a woman, where he decided to do the right thing, open up his heart, give love a chance, he said it completely backfired on him. And this was about 10 years ago. And he said that ever since then, he's been, player for life. Just being, a dog out there. And so now, for whatever reason, he's like, he wants to settle down. He wants to be married. I guess he's just tired of playing games with women, and he wants something a little bit more substantial than what he's been getting. The cousin says that Eris has never experienced a traditional relationship. And I was very curious when she said that. Like, what does she consider a traditional relationship? And what has he been doing that is not that? Like, I'm assuming she means traditional, like one man, one woman in a relationship, monogamy, and that's it. I think that's what she's referring to. Maybe he's used to juggling a whole bunch of women. Maybe he's used to having a lot of open relationships where anything goes for both parties. But she says that he's never had a traditional relationship. And you can't go from player to husband in 2 weeks. Like I said, she's absolutely against this. Moving on to Jasmine. Jasmine is somebody else. When you look at her and you listen to her, it's like, wow, she is a great catch. Now, I think with Jasmine, she might love too hard too soon. And maybe that's why her relationships are not working out. I think that when she meets a man and they start dating, she starts having a lot of expectations and they're just not ready. They're not moving at the same pace as she is. Because when she announced to her family that they had found a match for her, everybody was crying. They were so happy for her, but they were also crying because they feel like, she deserves love. And this is probably her, her chance to actually find real love in this process on this show. And it made me feel like her past relationships, the guys have completely dogged her out, have completely broken her heart multiple times. And like I said, maybe because she expects too much from them a little bit too soon. She's very attractive. She used to be a beauty pageant contestant, and I even think a beauty pageant winner. I think she even won some of her beauty pageants. She's currently a competitive cheerleading coach. She's very, very big on family. Every single year, her and her family go on vacation together and they have a family reunion as well. So she's very big on family. And we also find out when the guys go out for pizza that Eris actually slept with someone right before he was told that he was matched. Now, this is what I believe. I understand that when a person applies for the show, they don't know how it's going to go. And, I don't know how long the process is from the time that you submit your application to the time when you find out whether or not you were chosen. And in between that time, I'm pretty sure people still have to live their lives. So we can't expect everybody to act as if they got chosen and they need to act like someone who's in a relationship about to get married. I totally understand that. So maybe I could show him some grace in the fact that, he slept with someone right before he found out that he was matched. He had no idea that he was going to be matched, probably thought he wasn't going to get picked for the show. So maybe I can show him some grace about that. But I feel like at some point, I don't know, because this is giving very much Chris vibes, from the Chris and Paige season where he had told Paige, that he had been with his ex-fiance or ex-girlfriend right before he got on the show. It's just, I don't know. Now, Chris, on the other hand, Chris and Nicole, that Chris, this season's Chris, he was like, when he found out that the other guys, that Eris and Clint had been with a woman right before they got on the show, Chris was like, as soon as I applied, I had already started acting like a husband. He was like, I was already preparing myself to be with my wife. And so he wasn't going to take part in any shenanigans because he was the one that a woman had approached him at a bar and gave him her phone number and I guess wanted to hook up with him. And he absolutely turned her down because he was like, no, I might be meeting my wife, the mother of my children on this show. And so I have to act accordingly. So good for Chris. I don't know if that's a good thing or a scary thing, but good for Chris. Moving on. So Eris and Jasmine, before we move on, Eris and Jasmine, like I said, this was my favorite couple, but the more I see his cousin trying to convince him to not do this, his cousin knows him better than I do. So she probably sees something in him that I don't. So maybe he's not ready. And also he had said that he was telling the guys that he did not, I don't know if he was joking or not, because I don't know how this works. When I got married, there were no dating apps. So I don't know how this works. He said that he did not completely delete his dating app. He just put it to sleep or temporarily suspended it or something. Whatever he said, it gave me the impression that he did not cancel any of his dating app accounts. They are still in the background in case he has to hop right back on them. And that's why I'm kind of worried about Eris. I'm beginning to wonder if maybe his cousin is right. Maybe he is not ready for this process. Moving on to Gina and Clint. Gina is 36. She's a hairstylist and a salon owner. Clint is 40 years old, and they say he's a first mate. So I guess he works on a boat or a ship or something. Clint is very big on adventure. He wants to travel the world. He wants to experience different places, different cultures, different foods, different experiences. He's all about living life at its fullest. He flies planes. He knows how to operate a ship or a boat or whatever. He's all about the outdoors, outside. One of the guys described him as they said that Clint reminded them of Mr. Brawny, the guy on the paper towels. He has a head full of hair, a full beard, really outdoorsy kind of guy. And Clint, in this episode, I got to really see what he's like. Clint is like really full of life, and he has a lot of what it appears to be like a lot of confidence in himself. He seems to be the kind of person that when he walks into a room, he absolutely commands the room. That's what he seems like to me. He's very alpha. He's very much, I'm the leader. I'm the one making the decisions around here. Like if he worked in corporate America, he would definitely be like a top executive CEO type of person. That's just the kind of personality that he has. And I hope that Gina's ready for that, because he seems like he wants to be the dominant one in the relationship and he wants to control how everything goes. So I hope Gina's ready for that. Gina says that she's she's very spontaneous. She was raised by a single mom. Her father really wasn't in her life, so she really never had that male figure. And I hope that because she never had that male figure, that consistent male figure in her life, that she's not going to be searching for daddy in Clint and allow him to just completely take over her life. Speaking of taking over someone's life, Clint tells us that his last serious relationship, it was a long-term relationship, and it ended because the woman, his ex-girlfriend, had said that she was changing too much of herself to become what he wanted her to be. Oh, that's major red flag territory. For his previous partner to be like, I was trying to become what he wanted me to be, which makes me think if a woman is not meeting his expectations, he tries to change her. So this is like giving me like a sprink of Mitch, not Mitch full force, full throttle Mitch, but like a little sprink of Mitch, because Clint also said that he prefers women to be natural, but then he's going to be matched with a hairstylist. So this is the shenanigans that I'm referring to when I talk about Married at First Sight. They like to put people together who are opposite because they just want to see the hilarity ensue. So I don't know about this match. This match gives me a lot of concern. I like Gina, and to a certain extent, I like Clint. And it'd be great if they worked out, but I don't know. When they showed us the clip of him at the altar waiting for Gina to walk down the aisle, he had on a suit but no tie. And his shirt was, like the first couple of buttons were unbuttoned. And this is his wedding attire. Very casual, very loosey-goosey, you know what I mean? Like, he's not going to conform to a bow tie or a tie or a vest. He's not going to conform and look like a penguin. He's going to put on a suit for sure, but he ain't going to put on no damn tie. And he's not going to button up his shirt, and his hair looked really tousled. So, I mean, Mitch cleaned up a whole lot better than Clint, but for some reason I felt like that look worked for Clint. That very casual, very nonchalant kind of look that he had on his wedding day, it kind of worked for him. I don't think anybody else could pull that off. I don't know. But he does look like he might be controlling. So we'll see how that goes. Now, let's talk about the bachelor party and the bachelorette party. So at the bachelorette party, Dominique was having a damn good time. Okay. She was having a really good time with the strippers, and the other women were kind of looking at her sideways. Kirsten said that, she doesn't need to be acting that way with the strippers, and she needs to, be the kind of woman that caters to her man and rubs his feet and cooks his meals for him or something like that. So Dominique I didn't see anything wrong with how she was acting. This is a bachelorette party. You're supposed to let loose and have fun. Kirsten was, I think it was Kirsten that allowed the stripper to pick her up and bounce her up and down. So I don't think people should be passing judgment on others at their bachelor parties and bachelorette parties. As long as you're not crossing that line with the strippers or anybody else, Nobody should be passing any judgment. So the stripper took a shot from Dominique's bosom. So the hell what? Who was it? Gina. She licked alcohol off the stripper's stomach. It's just a night for everybody to let loose, have a good time. Don't go overboard, but still enjoy yourself. So there was no big deal about that. Like I said before, Chris, the one, Mr. Nice Guy, he did not really want to partake in the activities. He kind of was off to the side, and he didn't want to be too involved with the strippers. Someone had said at the bachelor party, one of them had said, well, what if these strippers were actually our wives? And they asked the other guys, which one would you pick? Somebody asked, who was it? McKinley. They asked McKinley, so which one would... No, not McKinley. Was it McKinley? No, it wasn't McKinley. It was Chris, Mr. Nice Guy Chris, the one who's matched with Nicole. So they asked Chris, so which one would you pick out of the strippers that were there? And the one that he chose was petite and blonde. And that is not Nicole. That is not Nicole. But Chris is like, he's ready to be married, and kind of like he really doesn't care who they match him with. He put all his trust in the experts, and he's ready to do the damn thing. Clint also enjoyed himself very much at the bachelorette party. At the bachelor party. He had a really good time with the strippers. Now, we were able to see a portion of our very first wedding, and that was Kirsten and Shaquille. So on their wedding day, Kirsten says, as she's getting ready and everything with her bridesmaids, Kirsten says that she's been having a really hard time finding a black man that she's attracted to. That's what she said. And I was like, what does that mean? Do you mean you're attracted to other races, but you've been having a hard time finding a black man that you're attracted to? Or you just been having a hard time, period, finding a man that you're attracted to, and you just, you only date black men, so that's what you're referring to. Shaquille said that he got confirmation from God. This is as he's getting ready for the wedding. He said that he got confirmation from God that this process is for him. I wonder how people are so sure that God is talking to them. I wonder what that confirmation was. Was it just a voice that he heard in his head? Or was he like walking down the street and he picked up a piece of paper and it said, this process is for you, Shaquille? Like, how do you know that? Kirsten says that she's not too crazy about men with bald heads. We talked about that before. And her bridesmaids kept on asking her, well, what if he does have a bald head? What if he does have a bald head? How are you going to feel about that? And she was like, I just prefer for them to have a low cut. I'm not that crazy about bald heads. I don't think it really matters. Kirsten's father may not be able to attend the wedding because he refused to get tested for COVID. So he may not be able to attend. She says her father is very stubborn. He's very headstrong. So he just refused to get tested. So that might prevent him from attending his own daughter's wedding. I think it was her brother that was going to walk her down the aisle. So I guess he didn't show up because we saw it as far as them opening the door for her to walk down the aisle. And it was her brother that was standing next to her. So as Shaquille is getting ready, he has an emotional moment. He just completely breaks down because he said that he was reflecting on his journey that got him to this point. And he was also remembering the personal struggles. He says that nobody even knew about, not his family, not his friends. He was going through some personal struggles that he had to overcome. So he was having a moment. And he also tells his friends or his groomsmen that he does not want to continue this life alone. He says, I've been alone for so long. And when people say that, I've been alone, I don't want to be alone anymore, it kind of touches my heart. I feel something in my heart when people say that. I kind of feel, a little bit sympathetic. So he says, I've been alone for so long and I don't want to continue this life alone. Kirsten says that this marriage is ordained. Okay, it's ordained. So Shaquille is getting confirmation from God. Kirsten is saying that this marriage is ordained. This partnership is ordained, which tells me that no matter what, these two people have to have the end goal of staying together forever. Okay, because they're saying some very lofty things, you know, how God is very much involved in this process for them. So in order to please God, they're going to have to try extremely hard to make this work. And Kirsten's going to have to put her pickiness to the side. You know, don't pick this man to death. You sometimes just going to have to overlook a whole bunch of stuff in order for the bigger picture to work. So before walking to the altar, while he's still like, you know, he's about to like, I guess, enter the area where he's about to walk into the altar. So before he enters the area, he runs into his grandmother, and he completely broke down when he saw his grandmother, because him and his grandmother are very, very close. His grandmother has been there for him since birth, has been there for him for all of his accomplishments, all of his ups and downs. And so he just fell into his grandmother's arms and just started crying. He was so happy to see her. And when Kirsten was still getting ready, her bridesmaids asked her, give us a sign on whether or not you like him or not. So she says that if she does like him, she's going to let him kiss her on the lips. And if she doesn't like him, she's going to let him kiss her on the cheek. So when the episode, not when the episode ended, because we didn't even get that far in this episode, but when they showed us the preview of next week's episode, it showed Shaquille kissing her on the cheek. So I don't know if that was a sign that she really wasn't crazy about him, or if she changed her mind at the last minute, and no matter what, she was still going to let him only kiss her on the cheek. I don't know, because Married at First Sight, you know, like any other show, when they show us the previews, it's like a lot of manipulation and a lot of teasing, and what you think it is, it's really not. So we'll just have to wait and see. Thank you so much for joining me in this review. I really do appreciate it. On your way out, do not forget to rate the video if you like this content. Please go ahead and subscribe, and I will definitely talk to you later. Bye.